How's it going, everybody? I got a few minutes before I have to go to the gym, and I wanted to talk about this funny time. See, my cousins, they used to cut hair out in the barbershop out in the country, out in East Texas. And there's this guy that shows up. Back in the day, when people really didn't fart around with their phones like they do nowadays, they'd actually get along, talk, and share, and cut up and make jokes and all that stuff. Anyway, this fella walks in there. I don't know his age or anything, but he walks in there and he's getting his hair cut, and my cousin's cutting his hair, and he says, this guy getting his hair cut. He says, "Hey, let me tell y'all what happened to me." And like, okay, all right. He says, "Hey, I just got back from the going to Rome, and I went to the Vatican, and I was walking around there and looking everything over, and looking where the St. Peter's Square is and all that stuff, and I didn't expect to run into anybody at all, but sure enough, I was standing out there, and the Pope saw me, and he calls me in there. He calls me into his council room, into his kind of like his office, where his little throne is, and he's seated there, and he says, "Hey," he says, "come here. Come here." He says, "Where are you from?" And then he says, "Well," I told him, I says, "Well, I'm from East Texas, a little ways from Dallas, and a lot of ways from Fort Worth." And anyway, they start to talking, and Pope asks, he says, "Hey," he says, "where did you get that haircut at?" And he tells him, he says, "Well," he says, I go to this guy who lives kind of in the same town that I'm at, and I think he does a decent job." And the Pope says, "Well, if I ever go down there," he says, I know not to get a haircut there, because that's a sorry ass haircut." And keep in mind, he says this joke while he's getting a haircut, Anyway, that's an example of how people used to cut up, have fun, and bring a little levity, a little laughter into their lives. But anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves, and until next time.